Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So here I am 3 weeks after my last video, and I'm not sure if I said it, if I mentioned it in my last video, the vlog where we went to pick up my parents at the airport in Vancouver, but it was for my wedding. So my husband and I, we were married before civilly, but we got married in the church. My parents came and my mother-in-law came, and it was this whole thing. And I didn't really have time to focus on the channel or my readings. But one thing I did, actually two things I did. First one, I managed to get a new mic, and now I don't have to worry if you guys are listening to me or not. I can speak in a normal volume, my normal voice, and I don't have to like constantly police myself to see if you guys are listening to me or not. And anyway, it's just better this way with the mic and everything. I feel really blessed and happy. And the second thing that I managed to do was I managed to finish The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton. And oh my goodness, what a book. This book that nearly broke me, and I was honestly, I finished it earlier today, and I was crying and just so affected by it that I had to like take a shower, do my makeup and everything, because I looked like, a wreck after reading this book. And we're going to talk a bit about it. I usually talk about endings, but I still don't know if I'm going to get through the final part of this book. I might, and if I do so, don't worry, I'll let you know when that happens. You won't get caught by a surprise or anything like that. You will know that a spoiler is coming. But I definitely want to go through some things here with you guys and talk about the story and talk about how it affected me and how strong this is. But let's talk about Edith Wharton first. So she was born in New York, in a distinguished family in New York, and she was very highly educated. She was educated in America and abroad as well, in Europe, and she wrote a lot. So she first published poetry, but then in 1905 she published The House of Mirth, which I think is not her most famous work. I think that her most famous one is The Age of Innocence, and I know that there are movies about that. I know that there is a movie about The House of Mirth as well, and I really want to watch that. But yeah, I might watch that this weekend, actually. Let's see if I can find it somewhere. Yeah, so we have here in this Penguin Classics edition, we have an introduction by Cynthia Griffin-Wolfe. And this introduction is actually quite good, especially if you want to know a bit more about Edith Wharton's life and understand how the way she was raised and understand how her struggles helped her maybe write this book, because it's just so real. I can't believe that someone who didn't really live this or some version of this could ever write this book. Or maybe she didn't, but from her story you could tell that at least some of the things that Lily, the main character, goes through here, at least the feelings Edith Wharton probably went through or had at some point in her life, because she seems like she truly understands what the character goes through during the whole book. Well, but before we start on the actual story, I just want to read a paragraph here in the introduction. So Cynthia says, the irrepressible appeal of this novel is in its way a remarkable phenomenon, for the work is uncertain in its focus. The title, taken from Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 3 through 4, suggests that the novel intends a savage excoriation of the self-indulgent world that it mirrors. So sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. So it makes total sense with the book. But you don't need to, you know, have read the book to know that Lily is actually a fool, and her heart of a fool will be in the House of Mirth. But in what way, truly, right? And we kind of see this in this book. So Lily Bart lives in New York, and she is high society. She's a part of the high society of New York, but she is no longer rich. Her parents were rich, but I think, we don't know why, but I think because of problems with investments or his job, his dad, and obviously as well because due to the fact that her mom spent a lot of money, and they lived like they were rich, and they spent so much money on servants and flowers and food and everything and anything. You can imagine that this combination would lead to the complete ruin of the family, at least financially. So they went bankrupt basically, and her dad passed away, then her mom passed away, and she was taken by an aunt, Mrs. Peniston, Julia Peniston. And she's sort of like raised, not raised because she was already like a young girl when her mother passes away, but she was kind of raised in that situation where she has a small allowance, like a small income, I believe, coming from her parents. I don't know where the income really comes from, but she has a small income, and she lives with her aunt, and her aunt only buys her, like, doesn't really give her money. Her aunt gives her dresses, and that's it, and thinks that it's enough because she lives with her. Her aunt doesn't really understand that to be a part of the, how they call it here, nouveau riche of New York, she needs to spend a lot of money. And she needs to be surrounded by these people for a lot of reasons. First of all, because that's the world that she knows, and that's the world that she wants to be a part of. Right, so she doesn't work, she doesn't have a job or anything like that. The only thing she has is going with her friends to parties and to houses at the beach and abroad in Europe, and hanging out and having parties and dinners and things like that. That's it. That's what she does. And play bridge, too much bridge. So her aunt doesn't really understand that. And she is often with her friends, and we're introduced to her like that. She's 29 years old. She should be married by now. She's not married. She's incredibly beautiful. She is, the way that she's written here in this book is just, makes me think that she was like, she looked like, I don't know, Aphrodite or something, like a goddess. So beautiful she was. However, she hasn't gotten married, and for a lot of reasons she hasn't, but mainly because of her choices. So she has changed her mind about engagements, and not engagements per se, but possible engagements and possible husbands. And she, ever since, like from a young age, she's been kind of, how can I say this, a slave to her own feelings and her own wish of wanting something exciting. So she would get, she would want to marry this guy, but then another one would come along and she would get excited about that. She was always excited about the prospect of parties and the prospects of beauty and the prospects of, I don't know what, just something to make her feel alive. That's basically what she was after here. And which is really sad because she passed on so many opportunities. And when we are introduced to her, she's already kind of like, I need to get married ASAP. Like, that is what I need to do, and I can't stay this way in this situation. I just need to get married. And then right in the beginning of the book, we meet this man, Lawrence Selden. We are introduced to him and to them together, and we can see straight away that they like each other, but he's a lawyer and he's not rich and he's not a part of the rich, right? He's not a part of the creme de la creme, creme de la creme. And she can't marry him, and she says that, you know, like, I can't marry you because I can only marry someone rich. And gosh, having finished this book now, like, I just want to go back and like punch her in the face. No, I don't want to do that. That's violent, but you know what I mean. But then she wants to marry this guy. She goes to her best friend's house to be with her and with everyone, and to hang out and to whatever party was back then, play bridge, drink, and eat. That's it. And she wants to marry this man named Percy Grice. And she kind of like almost does it. She's almost able to, you know, he's crazy about her, so she's almost able to get that done. But the problem is that she's always looking for the excitement. And this guy, he doesn't approve of bridge. He doesn't approve of not going to church. He approves of a more disciplined and a more, you know, religious lifestyle, going to church every Sunday, not gambling at all, and staying more at home and not, you know, having trips or anything like that. And he's very, very rich. That's why she wants to marry him. And also because her situation is starting to get, you know, a bit too much for her to handle, not having money and having debt and everything like that, because she has debt. And that's interesting, because in the book she says, like, to live with the rich, like, people think that you are not paying for anything, but you're paying for a lot. You're tipping, you're getting new dresses, you're getting your hair done, you're like taking care of your beauty, you're giving presents and things like that, because that's living with the rich. It's not just because you live with the rich that it means that you're not spending your money. And if you're not rich, if you don't have any money, then you're completely, you know, I don't want to say a strong word here, but things are not going good for you. And then so he's like that, and she manages to make her or him fall in love with her. But before she goes to church, so she pretends she doesn't play bridge, she pretends she goes to church, but on the day that she agreed with him that she was going to church with him, she decides not to, because she doesn't feel like it, basically. And there is one thing that I wanted to read you guys, because it's just so incredible, and it shows exactly how amazing her writing is. Edith Wharton's writing is. It's just so incredible. And I wanted to read it to you guys. Okay, so I found it. She's on her way to church, but not to watch the sermon. She's on her way to meet Mr. Grice after church and then walk home with him. And then she's going to probably tell him something like, I was sick or something, right? So then she sees this rustic seat at a bend of the walk, and then she decides to sit on the seat. So the spot was charming, and Lily was not insensible to the charm, or to the fact that her presence enhanced it, because she was truly beautiful. But she was not accustomed to the taste, the joys of solitude, except in company, and the combination of a handsome girl and a romantic scene struck her as too good to be wasted. No one, however, appeared to profit by the opportunity, and after a half hour of fruitless waiting, she rose and wandered on. She felt a stealing sense of fatigue as she walked. The sparkle had died out of her, and the taste of life was stale on her lips. She hardly knew what she had been seeking, or why the failure to find it had so blotted the light from her sky. She was only aware of a vague sense of failure, of an inner isolation, deeper than the loneliness about her. So it kind of describes Lily. She wants riches, and she wants beauty, and she wants basically to live amongst that and those people. But at the same time, she's she always wants something more. She always wants to be entertained somehow, and it has to be either by those like a stimulation with people, or with the excitement of maybe doing something wrong and doing something unexpected. And then Selden comes and talks to her and basically says that he likes her and he wants to be with her, but she's again saying like, no, I have to marry rich. But the problem is that Selden had kind of like an affair with one of the ladies who was there, Bertha Dorset, and she still liked him. And when he came to the house, Lily's friend's house, he came wanting to be with Lily, but that lady was there. And when she realized that he wanted to be with Lily, she quickly decided to ruin Lily's plans of marrying Grice, which makes no sense, but she just wanted to find a way to attack Lily somehow. So that's what she does. She tells Grice that Lily, plays bridge, doesn't go to church, and she's awful, and she just wants to marry him for his money. And then he decides not to do anything with Lily anymore and not even talk to her. He leaves the house. He leaves the state the next day, I think, and gets engaged to another girl. And that's the first of Lily's, not the first one, but the first that we see, the first bad decision that she makes. So after that, she is put in a situation where she has no money. Like I said, she buys new dresses, she buys this, she buys that, she lives amongst the rich, and she doesn't really have money. So what happens is that she trusts her best friend's husband to invest her money in the stock market, and he says that he's going to do it for her. However, actually, he was in love with her and he doesn't use his money. She was naive. She thought that he was using her money and that she wouldn't have to owe him anything. But she actually finds herself in a situation where she's owing money to this guy who's her best friend's husband and who's in love with her and who wants to be with her and possibly wants something more, if you know what I mean. And she's struggling a lot with the situation where she is being basically stalked by this guy, and at the same time she has Selden, who still wants her, who still loves her, and who's still trying to have something with her, but she is in this position where she says no to him, no to a marriage with him, because she wants to marry the rich. But at the same time, she's getting money from this guy, and then she's in the situation. It's horrible, guys. The entire book, you're worried about Lily, but at the same time, you're like, why are you doing this? Why? It's like you want to go through all of this, but it's not. It's just the situations that she finds herself in and bad choices. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a lot of details or go into any details here, but people start talking about how she is getting money from Trenner, that is her best friend's husband, and everyone thinks that they're kind of like, having an affair. And then Selden believes that as well. And then one day he sees her coming out of Trenner's apartment in New York, and it's awful. He just decides to leave to the Mediterranean, I think, and leave Lily by herself in New York. And they did have a moment the day before, beautiful moment where they kissed, they shared a kiss, and he proposed to her again, and she says no. Oh, gosh, if she could just go back in time, things would have been different. But anyway, she is in this situation, and then her best friend believes everyone. She doesn't like that her husband is basically paying Lily's bills, and then Lily is in this awful situation, and things get worse. One bad choice after the other, and her vanity and she's just so shallow, and like the reasons to the choices or behind the choices. It just, to us, maybe makes no sense because we're not high society in New York, early 20th century. But it's just so sad that her entire life, because it's basically her life going down. It's her complete and utter ruin, this book. And things get worse. You're always hoping that things will get better. Spoiler alert. Okay, I'm gonna, talk about the ending now. But things get so bad that Selden doesn't want her anymore. There's another character, Rosedale, who also proposes marriage to her, and she says no. And then towards halfway of the book, I think, she proposes marriage to him because she's so ruined that she doesn't have any money, she doesn't have anything. Oh, very important to say, her aunt passes away and doesn't leave her the house and the entire fortune. She leaves her like $10,000 that she is going to use to pay back her debt. So it's just like there's no way out. There's no way out. This guy, Rosedale, says no to her marriage proposal because she's ruined and no one likes her anymore. She's completely set aside. No one invites her to anything. She's just completely ruined in society, money-wise, everything, financially. It's really sad. And then the end of the book, unfortunately, she doesn't quite commit suicide, or maybe she did, but she gets addicted to, I forgot the name, chloral. It's a sedative. It helps people, or at least back in the day helped people sleep. And she's been taking it because she can't sleep because of her worries, right? So she can't sleep and she's been taking it, but then she is increasing the dose, and it gets to a point in the ending of the book that she increases more than she should, and she ends up dying while she sleeps. And it's so sad because the day before, or the night before, when she goes to bed, she realizes that she's always loved Selden. And then she thinks, as she lay there, she said to herself that there was something she must tell Selden, some word she had found that should make life clear between them. She tried to repeat the word, which lingered vague and luminous on the far edge of thought. She was afraid of not remembering it when she woke, and if she could only remember it and said it to him, she felt that everything would be well. And then the next day, he wakes up and decides to go talk to her, because they had a conversation the day before, and he decides to go talk to her and tell her he loves her. Basically, it says it's the same thing that he thinks, and it's beautiful. So he goes. 9 o'clock was an early hour for a visit, but Selden had passed beyond all such conventional observances. He only knew that he must see Lilibert at once. He had found the word he meant to say to her, and it could not wait another moment to be said. And the word, I'm assuming that the word is, I love you, or marry me. I don't know. Or her word would be yes, and his word yes, then they would be happy forever. And it makes me so sad that love, because of so many bad choices and because of pride and beliefs that are not even true, stand in the way of true love, and they're happy ever after, or happily ever after. But anyway, this is the ending of the book. So he goes, or he doesn't go, but anyway, it's a description of what happens. He knelt by the bed and bent over her, draining their last moment to its lees. And in the silence there passed between them the word which made all clear, the end. And it's just so sad that that's what has to happen in her life, just because of the bad choices, just because of her beliefs, and just because of what she thinks she should do to live in this society and to be accepted in this society and to be happy. That's what she thinks being happy is. But at the end of the book, she realizes that this is not happiness, and this is not what she realizes that she would be happy in a more simpler way. And there is a moment really truly beautiful here with a girl that she helped when she was taking care of some just women who had had troubles in life, and she was helping them with her friend Gertie, and she runs into this girl and she takes her to her house and then shows her that she's very poor, but she shows her that she has a husband that she loves and a baby. And there's a scene with a baby here in the end of the book that is just so beautiful, but that she realizes that that's what true happiness is: love and family and coziness, and that's it. But unfortunately it was too late for her, and she was already completely disturbed and addicted to the medicine as well. Anyways, what a book. Incredible. The writing is beautiful. I think I like her as much as I like George Eliot. Maybe not quite, but she's definitely up there in my rank. And yeah, honestly, beautiful, amazing. Love this book. Highly recommend. And I hope you guys read it and like it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.